Imagine that tomorrow morning your salary doubles. Not by 10%, not by 20%. It doubles. What do you think would happen? Most people have the same answer. I'd finally be able to build wealth. But something strange happens when researchers study income over long periods of time. Many people earn far more than they did 10 years ago. Yet somehow they don't feel financially free. They don't feel wealthy, and in many cases they're still living paycheck to paycheck. How is that possible? Where did all the money go? The answer is uncomfortable because there is a system operating in the background of modern life. A system designed to transform income into spending. A system so effective that most people never notice it. I call it the consumption machine, and once you see it, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Let's start with a simple question. When was the last time you bought something you didn't actually need? Not something useful, not something essential, something you simply wanted. Maybe it was a gadget, a pair of shoes, a watch, a new phone, a subscription, a luxury purchase. Now ask yourself a harder question. Why did you buy it? Most purchases have a story attached to them. We tell ourselves we wanted the product, but often we wanted the feeling. Success, status, comfort, excitement, belonging, confidence. Companies understand this better than almost anyone. They don't sell products, they sell emotions. A luxury watch doesn't sell time. A sports car doesn't sell transportation. A designer brand doesn't sell fabric. They sell identity. And that's where the machine begins. Every day, thousands of businesses compete for one thing: your attention. Because attention eventually becomes desire, and desire eventually becomes spending. For most of human history, this process was limited. You saw advertisements occasionally, you walked past a store, you watched a commercial. Today, it's different. Now the machine follows you everywhere. It lives inside your phone. Every scroll exposes you to new lifestyles, new products, new standards, new reasons to feel like what you have isn't enough. You see someone driving a better car, someone taking a luxury vacation, someone living in a bigger house, someone making more money. And without realizing it, a dangerous comparison begins. The machine doesn't need you to be unhappy. It only needs you to feel slightly incomplete, just enough to keep chasing, because a satisfied consumer is difficult to sell to. Think about that. If you were completely happy with what you already owned, how much less would you buy? This is why the finish line keeps moving. The car that once seemed impressive becomes normal. The phone you desperately wanted becomes ordinary. The lifestyle you dreamed about becomes your baseline. Then a new target appears, and the chase begins again. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Most people call it life. You finally get what you wanted, and then you want something else. The machine depends on this cycle because if satisfaction lasted forever, consumption would stop. And that leads to one of the biggest financial traps in modern life: lifestyle inflation. At first, it feels harmless. You earn more money, so you spend a little more, then a little more, then a little more. The raise disappears, the bonus disappears, the promotion disappears, not because you lost the money, because your lifestyle expanded to absorb it. It's almost like a law of nature. The bigger the income becomes, the bigger the lifestyle becomes, and suddenly someone earning twice as much doesn't feel twice as wealthy. They simply have more expensive obligations: a bigger house, a newer car, higher expectations, more subscriptions, more monthly payments. The machine is working exactly as intended. This is why wealth and income are not the same thing. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. And that single difference changes everything. Because every dollar faces a choice: consume today or build tomorrow. Most people think investing begins when you buy a stock. It doesn't. Investing begins when you decide not to spend. That is the real moment. The invisible moment nobody talks about. Every investment is a purchase you chose not to make, a future you chose instead of a present impulse. And that's where the battle happens. Because consumption gives immediate rewards. Investing gives delayed rewards. Consumption gives dopamine today. Investing gives freedom later. The problem is that later is difficult to see. Today is easy to see. That's why buying something feels exciting. The reward is immediate. You click, you buy, you receive, you feel good. For a while, then the feeling fades, and another desire appears. The cycle repeats. Buy, adapt, repeat. The machine never asks whether you're becoming wealthier, it only asks whether you're still consuming. But here's the interesting part. The people who eventually build wealth aren't necessarily the highest earners. They're often the people who learn to step outside the machine. Not completely, not perfectly, just enough. Enough to pause before spending. Enough to ask a different question. Do I actually want this, or was I taught to want it? That's a powerful question. Because many purchases aren't solving problems, they're solving insecurities. Trying to impress people, trying to signal success, trying to keep up, trying to belong. And those purchases rarely create lasting satisfaction. They simply create temporary relief. Then the cycle starts again. Real wealth is built differently. Real wealth is built in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is where investing lives. That gap is where opportunity lives. That gap is where freedom begins. The consumption machine wants to shrink that gap. The investor wants to expand it. And those two forces compete every day, every advertisement, every social media post, every impulse purchase, every financial decision. The battle isn't happening in the stock market. The battle is happening in your mind. Because financial freedom is rarely destroyed by one catastrophic mistake. It's usually consumed one small decision at a time. One unnecessary upgrade, one lifestyle increase, one impulse purchase, one rationalization after another, until years pass and the income grew. But the wealth never did. The machine will always exist. There will always be new products, new trends, new reasons to spend. The goal isn't to escape the system. The goal is to recognize it. Because once you recognize it, something changes. You become intentional. You stop asking, what can I afford? And start asking, what is this costing my future? That single question has the power to change everything. Because wealth is not built by consuming more. It's built by owning more. Owning assets, owning investments, owning your time, owning your future. And perhaps the greatest financial advantage isn't earning more money. It's learning when not to spend it. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to The Engineering of Investing. Because the most important financial lessons are often the ones nobody teaches. And I'll see you in the next video.